precious moments.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at enduring 1980s rock albums. We're excluding pop rock albums and heavier bands like Metallica and Iron Maiden, but we'll include more commercially viable forms of metal.
Welcome to the jungle, what we bring it to you.
Number 10, Slippery When Wet, Bon Jovi. These boys from New Jersey had already experimented with AOR and art rock prior to striking commercial gold with 1986's Slippery When Wet. A songwriting partnership with Desmond Child combined the best elements of Bon Jovi's already hooky nature with the shiniest elements of the emerging hair metal scene. The results on Slippery When Wet proved to be commercial perfection, with songs like Livin' on a Prayer, You Give Love a Bad Name, and Wanted Dead or Alive going on to become certified hits.
I'm a cowboy on a steel horse I ride.
Beyond this, Slippery When Wet also serves as perhaps the perfect Bon Jovi record, a virtual textbook for younger bands that would emerge in their wake. Number 9, Disintegration, The Cure. The Cure is many different things to many different people. For some, they're a gothic rock cornerstone. For others, they're a pop band with a unique look. Both viewpoints are correct, but it's with Disintegration that The Cure was able to please both ends of that spectrum.
I feel like I'm being eaten by 1,000 hungry children furry holes.
The album is defiantly dense, moody, and layered. There's an almost impenetrable darkness at play that bears worthwhile fruit for those taking the musical plunge. Elsewhere, Disintegration is also full of well-crafted, memorable songs. Pictures of You was a hit single, as was Love Song, but these tunes never felt like outliers. Instead, Disintegration is like a great musical painting, able to be admired and analyzed in many different ways by anyone who stops by for an appreciation.
I will always love you. I will always love you.
Number 8, Back in Black, ACDC. What does a band do when they've lost one of the most dynamic frontmen of all time? Australia's ACDC could have very easily hung up their boots and went home after the untimely demise of Bon Scott in 1980. Instead of doing this, ACDC decided to both mourn and celebrate the loss of Scott by carrying on with an album that forever marks the man's legacy. Back in Black fittingly opens up with the sound of tolling church bells before new singer Brian Johnson announces his arrival with Hell's Bells. From that point on, it's classic AC/DC with a new, inspired edge. The band never looked back, and fans welcomed this new version of the AC/DC with open arms. And speaking of arms, number 7, Brothers in Arms, Dire Straits.
All the late night bargains have been struck between the symbols and their bill.
The massive worldwide success of Dire Straits has proven that it's not always the loudest rock band that wins. If anything, 1985's Brothers in Arms succeeds best during its quieter moments, such as on Your Latest Trick and the evocative title track.
You did not desert me, my brothers and I.
Elsewhere, the huge hit single Money for Nothing showcased songwriter Mark Knopfler's sense of humor and witty lyrics.
Install microwave oven, custom kitchen delivery.
Make no mistake, however, Dire Straits is all about the guitar work, and Knopfler's emotive style is on full display here. The man's bluesy soulfulness is enough to make even the hardest heart weep, and Brothers in Arms represents this statement beautifully.
You do the walk, yeah, you do the walk all night. You do the walk all night.
Number 6. Born in the USA, Bruce Springsteen.
I get up in the evening and I ain't got nothing to say.
It wasn't as if the boss, Bruce Springsteen, had anything to prove back in 1984 when he released Born in the USA. The man was already a certified legend in the music industry, pioneering a singer-songwriter career that influenced legions.
Even if we're just dancing in the dark.
That said, Born in the USA also perhaps has the distinction of being the most misunderstood album and title track of all time. This was due largely to its release in the midst of the Cold War, as well as during a time of heavy moralistic conservatism within the United States.
Born down in a dead man's town, the first kicker took us when I hit the ground.
As a result, the title track was often mistakenly seen as pro-American, rather than the scathing critique it actually is. Number 5. Invisible Touch, Genesis. Whoever assumed that progressive rock died in the 1970s apparently wasn't paying attention to the career trajectories of bands like Genesis. The British Prague institution managed to pivot wonderfully after the departure of their singer, Peter Gabriel, and it's Invisible Touch that saw Genesis at the height of their pop prowess. The music here is commercially viable while still retaining the musical intricacies that defined early Genesis. Songs like Land of Confusion and the title track are catchy, sure, but also smartly composed. Meanwhile, the two-part domino proved that Genesis were still more than capable of pleasing old fans, along with the new.
Do you see what you have done?
Number 4. Purple Rain, Prince and the Revolution.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life.
It's not every day that a film soundtrack enters the cultural zeitgeist. But then again, Purple Rain isn't exactly an average film soundtrack.
Let's go crazy. Let's get nuts.
The album arrived at exactly the right time to capitalize upon Prince's meteoric rise in popularity and influence. But it wasn't a foregone conclusion that it would succeed. Fortunately, the songs couldn't be ignored. The track list reads like a veritable who's who of Prince classics, including Let's Go Crazy, I Would Die For You, When Doves Cry, and the epic title track.
This is what it sounds like when the doves cry.
Purple Rain is an album that's endured to the modern day and is worth all of the hype. Number 3. Appetite for Destruction, Guns N' Roses.
Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games.
There are few rock records released both then and now that possess the palpable feeling of danger that permeated Appetite for Destruction. Simply said, Guns N' Roses felt like the real deal. Street punks that had sharpened their songwriting skills to a fatal knife's edge.
Yeah, it's so easy when everybody's trying to please me.
Appetite for Destruction isn't mere mindless aggression, nor reductive posturing. Instead, the album encapsulates everything that defines rock rebellion, a snotty attitude that belies compositional perfection.
Take me down to a paradise city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty.
Axl Rose and crew ensured that everything was note perfect on Appetite, from the riffs and arrangements to a production that was hard-edged, yet full of clarity. This hard rock classic is one for the ages. Number 2. Pyromania, Def Leppard. It's a challenge to signal out which album truly defined glam metal's chart dominance tenure during the 1980s. Whitesnake's self-titled 1987 album was certainly a commercial smash, as was Def Leppard's Hysteria from that same year. However, we'd argue that 1983's Pyromania offers a better balance of pop influence and Def Leppard's metallic pedigree. Photograph, Foolin', and Rock of Ages are radio staples to this day. Yet songs like Stage Fright, Die Hard, The Hunter, and Billy's Got a Gun are heavy, melodic diamonds. Pyromania truly has something for everybody, from memorable hooks to heavy riffs. It's also an album that showcases Def Leppard firing on all creative cylinders. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Shout at the Devil, Motley Crue, a stylistic statement of intent. 1984, Van Halen, a blueprint for Sunset Strip glam. The Stone Roses, early influential alt-rock. Hounds of Love, Kate Bush, art rock with a generational vocal talent. Escape, Journey, absolute AOR heaven.
Don't stop believing.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, The Joshua Tree, U2.
See the stone set in your eyes.
Rarely has a band been so defined by a single album. The Joshua Tree is, for many music fans, the reason why they fell in love with U2. And it's difficult to argue against that love, since so many of the songs here have rightfully gone on to become classics. With or Without You, Where the Streets Have No Name, and I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For are still played on the radio today. The Edge's guitar tone and style are still being copied by generations of guitarists seeking his secrets. And Bono remains one of rock's most iconoclastic frontmen, with a moody and rich voice full of melodic nuance. Said simply, U2's The Joshua Tree helped define the 1980s. Which 1980s album do you think helped define the decade? Let us know in the comments. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.